Okay, so picture this. You're driving down the road in like a really nice SUV. It's got all the bells and whistles, sunroofs open, music's blasting. It's pretty much the dream, right? Well, today on this deep dive, we're going to try to help get you one step closer to that. We're looking at two really cool SUVs in the Asian market, the Oshan X7 FutureSense and the Jetour X70 Plus. And these both have 3 rows of seats, so they can fit 7 people. And they both are going for that like luxury feel, but without the luxury price tag. And we found a really awesome article comparing the two, so let's dive in.
Yeah, what's really interesting to me is both of these brands are going after like this growing market of people who want luxury but don't want to spend a ton of money, especially when it comes to SUVs. Buyers want space and style and all the technology, but they don't want to like completely empty their bank accounts.
Exactly. Okay, so let's get down to it. What are we looking at price-wise? Well, this article says the Jetour X70 Plus costs $30,535.38, while the Oshan X7 FutureSense is a bit more at $32,525.47.
Yeah, that's not a huge difference when you think about all the features you get with these. It really is going to come down to which one has the best value for you and what you're looking for in an SUV.
That's true. Like $2,000 might not be the deciding factor here. So let's talk about what might be important to people. First, performance. They both have turbocharged engines that are around 1.5 liters, but the Oshan's engine is more powerful at 185 horsepower compared to the Jetour's 154. But maybe even more important is the torque. The Oshan has a lot at 300 Newton meters versus the Jetour's 230. Now, I know torque can sound kind of like a technical thing, but basically it's what gives you that like push you feel when you hit the gas.
Yeah, and especially with a 7-seater SUV, you're going to have a lot of people and stuff in there. That extra torque from the Oshan is going to make a huge difference. Like if you're trying to merge onto the highway or pass someone going slower, the Oshan's going to feel a lot more responsive. Actually, 70 Newton meters more torque could make the Oshan like a full second faster, going from 0 to 60.
Wow, that's a big difference. So it sounds like the Oshan might be more fun to drive.
Maybe, but we can't count out the Jetour yet. It could be that its engine is designed to give you a smoother acceleration, which some people prefer. We also need to consider the transmission. The Oshan has a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, also called a DCT, and the Jetour has a 6-speed automatic.
I've heard that DCTs can be kind of jerky when you're going slow, but they're also known for shifting faster and getting better gas mileage.
Yeah, you're right. DCTs are definitely designed for performance. It would be interesting to see how they feel compared to a regular automatic. But if fuel efficiency is really important to you, the Oshan might be better because of its 7-speed DCT.
All right, so we talked about power and gas mileage, but what about just sitting inside these SUVs? I mean, you're going to be spending a lot of time in there, so they both have these nice leatherette seats. But the Oshan goes a step further with what they call terracotta-colored leather.
Terracotta, that's an interesting choice. I wonder if it's more like a burnt orange or a dark reddish brown. Either way, it definitely sounds like a luxurious touch you don't see very often. Can you imagine that interior with like a sleek black exterior? That would look incredible.
Yeah, I'm picturing it and it does sound pretty cool. And another thing, the Oshan has heated and cooled front seats. The article doesn't mention if the Jetour has that, so that's a big bonus for the Oshan, especially if you live somewhere with really hot or really cold weather.
Oh, for sure. Having comfortable seats makes a big difference, especially if you're driving a lot.
Totally. Okay, so they both have these huge 10.25-inch touchscreens for the infotainment system, which is pretty standard these days, but there's a difference in the screens in front of the driver. The Oshan has a fully digital instrument cluster, which looks really modern, and the Jetour has two 10.25-inch screens side by side.
It seems like the Jetour is taking inspiration from like luxury cars where dual screens are becoming more and more common, but having just one screen might be nicer because it's all in one place. And it might be safer too because it's less distracting for the driver.
That's a good point. It's like a trade-off between style and being practical, but both setups are definitely high-tech and should make most drivers happy.
Definitely. And while we're talking about tech, the Jetour has a wireless charging pad, which is always a plus. But the Oshan has a PM.1 air filter, which could be a big selling point for people who are concerned about air quality. It filters out even the tiniest particles, so the air inside is really clean.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more and more cars with air filters like that, especially as people care more about air quality. It's almost like having your own little bubble of clean air.
It's really cool to see how each brand is focusing on different things like convenience and health. Now let's step outside for a minute and talk about how these SUVs look. They both have LED headlights, 19-inch wheels, and power tailgates, all the good stuff.
But the Oshan has these rims they call Hyperblade. I mean, that name just sounds awesome. It makes it sound sporty and aggressive, which some people will like.
Yeah, the wheels can really change how a car looks. And let's not forget about little things like welcome lights and follow me home lights. The Oshan has welcome lights and the Jetour has both. Follow me home lights are really helpful when it's dark because they light up the path to your door.
Yeah, those little details can make a car feel more luxurious. But we can't forget about the most important thing, safety. Especially with family SUVs, safety is a top priority.
Absolutely. And it looks like both of these SUVs take safety seriously. They both come standard with a lot of safety features like anti-lock brakes, also called ABS, which stop your wheels from locking up when you brake hard, electronic stability control, or ESC, which helps you stay in control if you start to skid, and a tire pressure monitoring system, or TPMS, which tells you if your cars are low on air. But there's some big differences in safety features too.
Okay, so we've covered a lot: price, performance, interiors, and safety. Now it's time to really compare those safety features head to head.
Let's do it. This is going to be interesting.
So we were talking about safety, and that's probably the most important thing when you're picking out an SUV, especially if you're going to have like family in the back. So let's get into those safety features a little more.
Okay, so let's talk about airbags. The Jetour has more airbags than the Oshan, including curtain airbags, which protect your head if you get hit from the side. The Oshan just has airbags for the driver, passenger, and the sides.
So more airbags are usually better, right? But it sounds like the Oshan is trying to make up for that with other cool safety tech.
Exactly. The Oshan comes standard with a 360-degree camera, so you can see all around the car, which is really helpful for parking and stuff. It also has forward collision warning and automatic emergency braking, so it can see if you're going to hit something and slam on the brakes for you.
Wow, those are some really cool features. It's almost like having an extra set of eyes watched out for you, especially in traffic. But the Jetour has some good safety features too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. It has blind spot detection, so it tells you if there's a car in your blind spot when you're changing lanes. And it also has lane change assist, which gives you an extra warning if it's not safe to change lanes.
That's super helpful. I've definitely almost hit someone who was in my blind spot before.
And the Jetour also has door open warning, so it'll tell you if you're about to open your door into traffic or into a cyclist. And it has rear crash traffic alert, which tells you if a car is coming when you're backing up.
Okay, so it sounds like the Jetour has more like driver assistance features to keep you safe in all kinds of situations. And the Oshan is focusing more on those big safety features like automatic braking and the 360-degree camera.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It really just depends on what you're looking for and what makes you feel safer as a driver. But enough about safety for now. Let's talk about some of the fun stuff, like all the technology and cool features that make these SUVs enjoyable to drive.
Yeah, I'm all about those cool features. Let's do it. So we already talked about how the Oshan has those unique terracotta leather seats. I'm still really curious about what color that actually is.
Me too. But both SUVs are going for a modern and luxurious look inside. The Oshan is more minimalist, with a big touchscreen in the middle, kind of like a Tesla.
I like that. It looks really clean and simple.
The Jetour has more of a layered design. It has physical buttons and knobs along with the two screens. So it's a little more traditional, but some people prefer having actual buttons to press.
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to have to mess with the touch screen to do something.
Exactly. It's all about finding what works best for you, whether it's digital or physical controls. But besides how it looks, practicality is important too. Both SUVs have plenty of space for people, especially in the front and middle seats.
Yeah, tons of legroom. But we can't forget about the third row. These are supposed to be 7-seater SUVs after all.
Right. But usually the third row in SUVs this size is pretty small. It's better for kids or for adults if they're only riding back there for a short time. I definitely recommend trying out the third row yourself before you buy one of these.
Good point. And let's talk about cargo space. How much stuff can you fit in these SUVs?
They both have a decent amount of cargo space, but the exact amount depends on whether the third row seats are up or down. The Oshan's cargo area is wider, which is nice if you're hauling furniture or something big. But the Jetours might be deeper, so you can fit taller things.
So it's kind of like choosing a refrigerator. Do you want one that's wider or deeper? But ideally, you want the floor to be flat when you fold the seats down. It's so annoying when there's a big hump or gap because you can't slide things in easily.
Yeah, a flat load floor is definitely important if you want to use all the cargo space. Unfortunately, the article doesn't say how the seats fold down, so that's something you'd have to check out yourself.
Okay, so we've talked about the practical stuff. Now let's get back to the technology. We already covered the infotainment systems, but what about other cool tech features?
Well, the Oshan has a fully digital instrument cluster. A lot of new cars are doing that now. Instead of the regular gauges, it's like a big screen that shows you all kinds of information about the car and the navigation and stuff.
That's really cool.
The Jetour has a head-up display, so it projects things like your speed and directions onto the windshield.
Oh, I've always wanted a head-up display. It's like you're a fighter pilot or something.
Exactly. And it's safer because you don't have to take your eyes off the road. Both SUVs also have a lot of driver assistance features, like adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and blind spot monitoring.
Those features are awesome for long drives because they make driving less tiring.
Yeah, but it's important to remember that those systems are just there to help you. They're not meant to replace the driver. You should always be paying attention and be ready to take control. And it's good to read reviews and see how those systems actually work in the real world.
Before we finish up this part, I want to talk about how these SUVs look. I mean, you want an SUV that looks good, right?
Of course, it's all subjective, but I think the Oshan has a more sleek and sophisticated look. It has sharp lines, a bold grille, and those cool hyperblade rims.
Yeah, I agree. It looks modern and athletic. The Jetour looks more muscular and tough with its big wheel arches and the way the body is sculpted.
Yeah, it's like the Jetour is saying, I'm ready for anything, and the Oshan is saying, I'm stylish and sophisticated, and everyone's going to look at me.
I like that. It's like they each have their own personality. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what you think looks good and what kind of style you want.
Exactly. And you should also look at the different colors they come in and any extra packages they offer to customize the look.
That's true. Some people want their car to blend in, and some people want it to stand out.
So we've covered a lot: safety, technology, interiors, and style.
Yeah, it's been a fun deep dive so far, and we've seen that these two SUVs are pretty different. But the journey's not over yet. In part 3, we're going to put it all together and try to answer the big question. Which SUV is right for you? Okay, so we've gone through all the specs and features and even talked about how they look. We've really gotten to know these two SUVs.
Yeah, and now the big question. Which one should you buy?
Right. Can we help make that decision a little easier? It's been a tough competition. They're both stylish and practical and have lots of cool technology.
But like we've said all along, the best choice really depends on you. Your needs, your driving style, and your budget. There's no one perfect SUV for everyone.
Exactly. So let's imagine for a second that you're sitting in the driver's seat, you've got the keys in your hand, and you're about to hit the road. What would make you choose one of these SUVs over the other?
Some people are going to want that power and speed. Being able to merge onto the highway without any problems and pass slower cars easily. If that's important to you, then the Oshan with its more powerful engine might be the way to go.
Yeah, I can see that. But for other people, safety is going to be the top priority, knowing that you and your family are protected by all the latest safety tech.
Right. And if that's you, then the Jetour might be a better fit because it has all those driver assistance features.
And then there are those little things that make a car feel special, like those terracotta leather seats in the Oshan. I'm still really curious about those.
Me too. Or maybe you really want a head-up display like the one in the Jetour because it's convenient and safer.
Yeah, I like the idea of a head-up display.
And there are features that are good for specific things, like if you're always on your phone, the Jetour's wireless charging pad is a nice touch. And if you're worried about air quality, the Oshan's PM.1 air filter is a big plus.
It's like trying to decide which delicious treat to get at a bakery. There are so many good options.
That's true. But remember, we're just trying to give you the information you need to make a good decision. We've shown you how they're different and talked about the pros and cons.
Now it's up to you to do your research and read reviews. And the most important thing, test drive both of them. There's no better way to see how they feel and how all those features work in real life.
Definitely pay attention to how they drive, how they handle, and how all those features work for you.
And don't forget to go with your gut. Choosing a car is a big decision, and you want to feel good about it.
You'll know when you've found the right one. It'll just feel right.
So to wrap things up, let's imagine you've done all your research, you've narrowed it down to these two, the Oshan X7 FutureSense and the Jetour X70 Plus. And you're at the dealership ready to buy one.
What's the one thing that would make you choose one over the other? Is it the power, the luxury, the safety features, or maybe something else entirely?
Only you can answer that question. We've given you all the information we can. Now it's time to trust your instincts and make the choice that's best for you.
And no matter which one you choose, enjoy the ride.